My second guest tonight is one of the most celebrated Australian statesmen of modern times. He started his career as the entertainments officer at a club in Sydney and has risen to the heights of being the Australian cultural attaché to the court of St. James. I couldn't agree more with the critic who said that he impugns the fundamental refinement of the Australian character. Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Les Patterson.
Good luck here. And hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Got a
I once got a handful of Vaseline. Something. How are you feeling?
I'm not feeling too bad.
Yeah. Now, of course, images.
Oh, sorry, Mike.
What is it I've got in my hands?
Oh, it's an ointment I'm supposed to use. I was just giving myself a quick application before the show. I'm supposed to use an applicator, but I generally do. No worries.
Yeah. Now, let's talk...
You'll be all right on your next trip to the Philippines, mate. Are you with me? No worries.
Now, this thing about image is obviously terribly important. I mean, that's part of your job. Now, what's the image that you're trying to project?
I think you'd better phrase that again, Michael. I think what is the image that I am bloody successful in projecting, ladies and gentlemen? And that is as Australia as a thinking organism. You know, it wasn't very many moons ago. What you do to old Brian Humphrey and deadly, the poor bastard was ashes. I seen him out there. Oh, Christ, you must have given him a rough time.
Well, we talked about getting on the grog.
Oh, Christ, it stuck into him. Ladies and gentlemen, it's very good to be here on the Parky show. You know, you could say this is the International Year of Australia already, couldn't you, Mike?
Well, you could.
It's been fantastic, the publicity we're getting, and largely due to the efforts of my good self. You know, it wasn't many moons ago that they thought we were a bunch of rough diamonds down under. But, you know, we've got more culture than a penicillin factory in Australia. I'm telling you that. No worries.
Well, I suppose that they talk about culture, the main thing that people know Australia for now, the movie industry, the films, Australian films. Have you got anything to do with them at all?
Yes, I kicked it. I'm very proud of the role. I'm very proud of the role that I've played there. You know, the trouble with the film industry, as it is with the arts in general today, is that the poofter element. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't mind what people do in the privacy of their own homes. Don't get me wrong on that score, ladies and gentlemen. Please. You know, I see eye to eye with old Ken Livingstone in that particular matter. But what I'd like to say is this, that, you know, there are a lot of... the industry needs a fair bit of weeding out, and, you know, it's rife with the poofters in Australia as it is here. You know, I had a lovely idea for a film a few years ago. It was going to be called... It was about a football team going to the bush. It was called Piss Up on Hanging Rock, as a matter of fact. By the time... No, are you with me? By the time the Poof Mafia, or the Poofia as I call them, had got onto that, they'd turned them all into Sheilas, drifting around in the nursery curtains and getting eaten by the abos in there.
Well, what about a film like Gallipoli, which has had tremendous critical acclaim both here and in America?
Again, you see, the movie industry's got out of my hands. Gallipoli, in my opinion, is a better description of that film. Two fellas, I don't say they're shirt lifters. I don't say that. I don't say they're shirt lifters, but they could be. They could be, and that's how it comes across, you know? Giving the Turks the wrong idea, you know? Mind you, they've had the wrong idea for a year or two, haven't they, eh? No worries.
Do you know many people within the film industry intimately, though? I mean, I'm thinking of actors or actresses.
Well, I do, naturally. I've had... You hear the boys in the band over there, for Christ's sake, eh? That'll do, fellas, eh? No, I've done a bit of casting, Mike, I have. I've done a bit of... I mean, it's not for nothing I'm known as the Protestant Lou Grade. I am. We've got a lot in common, you know. Well, with a couple of tycoons, and it's significant, isn't it, that old Lou's enterprise is being taken over by an Aussie corporation, an Aussie conglomerate. A conglomerate. And they're a bit afraid, of course, that it'll lose its Englishness, but old Lord Grade, English? Well, rumour has it he's a Bulgarian tap dancer. I don't know. But he's very nice and a close personal friend, I hasten to say.
Well, you've got many...
But a lot of the actresses, you know, I mean... I know them all personally. I can't name names on this show because, you know, there's been moments when my fidelity to my wife has been put to a pretty severe test. And come off second best, I can tell you.
Can you think of any... I mean, was this a question of girls being forward, being overwhelmed by your sexuality?
They do get a bit. You know, I had an embarrassing experience in a London taxi. Yes. I had this little lass. She was a star of one of my films. And I was showing her the sights of London. You know, Buckminster Castle, St Paul's Abbey, Trafalgar Circus, and we're driving around. And I kid you not, you know, this little Sheila done a streak in the back seat of the car. I didn't know where to look. And we got to our destination. The driver says, that'll be so-and-so, you know. And he says, how are you going to pay me? And she... Oh, I'm sorry, I can't say it, but she done an Erica. An Erica? She done an Erica, but not the top part. She flashed the map of Tasmania, ladies and gentlemen. Now, no, for those of you who aren't too crash-eyed on the geography, Tasmania is a triangular continent. A bit on the bushy side. No, please, oh, for goodness sake. Anyway, to cut a long story short, the driver said, haven't you got anything smaller? But no. The Cockney wit, you know, you can't beat it, but I think we've inherited it in Australia. I hope so, because it's a country I'm very proud of, and it's marvellous. You forgive me, all dressed up like a pox doctor's clerk on this show tonight. You know, it's a bit over the top, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, but I've just come from an affair of state. What was that? Oh, just some little do in Oz House. But I think it was a dried fruit convention, as a matter of fact. You can't get away from them, can you?
You're a great statesman and diplomat, Celeste.
You have to be, Mike. You're up front. I'm up there, up front, the whole bloody time. You know? You with me? It's stressful. It's a tremendous strain. I was disappointed I didn't get the job of Governor-General of Australia.
I would have thought you made a very...
You know, it was between me and the Prince of Wales, and an outsider come in. No worries, good luck to him. But I'm over here in London. I've been fronting up for Australia for many, many years. I've been taking the knocks and I've been taking the kudos, and it's been a tremendous amount of fun.
Have you modelled yourself on anybody in all those years?
Well, as I say, there's a bit of Lord Grey, there's a bit of Henry Kissinger in me. I see myself as Australia's answer, and General Haig. There's a bit of him in me. You know? There's a bit of General Haig in me.
Which bit?
Well, I don't mind a drop of the Haigs at any time, ladies and gentlemen. You with me? No, my mother always said, never trust a man who doesn't drink, and I don't. I like a drink. I'm not ashamed of that. As a matter of fact, you know, I'm as full as a pommy complaint box at the moment.
Do you have...
I mean that in a very nice way, too.
So, Les, do you have any artistic leaning to yourself? I mean, do you write anything at all? Do you write...
I write the odd poem, you know? From time to time, you know, I might be anywhere. I could be at an international airport. I could be on a TV talk show like this with you, Mike, and all of a sudden, suddenly I feel a stanza coming up, you know? I feel the odd, you know, hexameter rising in me, you know? And I think to myself, excuse me, I've got a poem here somewhere. Few reinforcements. You know, Michael Parkinson, I don't know if you know this, ladies and gentlemen, is now very much persona grata. Ladies and gentlemen, as you might have gathered from this bit of paper in my hand, I've knocked off a bit of a poem here. And this is apropos of Mike's presence in my homeland of Australia recently. You know, the odd critic got the knife out. What's new about that, Parky, eh?
Nothing.
But you know, there he is, my little mate Rupert gave him the job, and of course Rupert's, you know, the world isn't chock-a-block with Rupert's mates, is it? So the odd journo gets out the poison typewriter. And I feel, because Parky can't defend himself, a lot of people in show business can't defend themselves, can you? You know, you're comparatively defenceless. So I've written this poem, and it's called An Ode to Parky, ladies and gentlemen. I just want you to listen to it, if you will. By me. There's a bloke who's keenly watched and widely read, who always hits the nail on the head. He kicked off modestly in the UK, and he's a world celebrity today. If he gets nervous, well, it's never showed. His face is like a mile of rocky road. His crow's feet are the dried-up beds of smiles, and his best friends are aware that he's got piles of charm, pizzazz and British spunk and phlegm. Of TV interviewers, he's the gem. He could interview a Zulu or Iraqi and make it interesting. His name? Parky. Australian critics are all chippy guys. They tried to chop old Parky down to size. Some even said, go back where you come from. We don't want to learn charisma from a pom. But he knows the average Aussie journalist is following orders, jealous, or half pissed. He smiles, doesn't he? He does his job. He doesn't care. When you're the top, where do you go from there? So raise your glass of lager, rum or sake, whether you be a hun or nip or darky. And drink the health of my old cobber, Parky. Fair enough? Well, they're very lucky I'm like that. No worries?
Thank you. The original manuscript. Now, so there's one thing I have to ask you, of course, is about the long, lonely days you spend on the road. It must put a tremendous strain on your family life. I mean, your wife must feel...
Look, it's a terrific strain on Gwen. I don't much talk about Lady Gwen. I don't talk about my wife much. I hardly ever think about her, as a matter of fact. But now you've reminded me, she's sitting back there in Australia. She's a bit of a grass widow, as a matter of fact. You know, she keeps a very, very low profile. One of the lowest profiles I've ever seen. But it's home duties for her, you know. But in my job, I don't see the little woman as much as I'd like to. But in a way, that's cemented our relationship. And I don't know, I'd like Mary, little Mary Parky, in on this because she'd have her own tale to tell. But ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of women out there, not just in the studio audience, but watching this show. And I'm, this old Les being serious, you know, for a moment, because I'm a pretty light-hearted old beggar, but I've got a serious streak to me. And there's a lot of lonely women who wait. And I've dedicated a song to them. Yeah. Not many people think I can sing, and I'm going to prove it to you now. This is a song. It's a song dedicated. It's a song dedicated to my wife, Lady Patterson, amongst others. It's got a nice little lilt to it. You know, it's a case of, I reckon it's a case of eat your heart out, George Melly, as far as I'm concerned. I feel a song coming on, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Me job takes me miles over land and sea, but home is the place I'm always longing to be. There's a little old Sheila waiting for me, and she's my old lady. The years have rolled by since she was a bride. Now and then I enjoy a little bit on the side. She might smell a rat, but she's got plenty of pride, 'cause she's my old lady. I sometimes forget to sling her a quid. She never gets too much love. But no matter how I treat the poor old cow, me dinner's always in the oven. Oh, cripes, I've cried on that, Parky. I'll have to run it again, fellas. All right, fellas. No worries, let's hear it. I might have been away for 6 months or more, but when I stick me key in her old front door, she's down there scrubbing the kitchen floor, 'cause she's my old lady. The last time I saw a head like hers, it probably had a hook in it. But I don't care if she's as ugly as sin. I love every hair on her dear old chin as she washes the Valium down with the gin. She's mine. Oh, lady. Thank you. No worries. No worries. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks, Parky. Not bad, eh?
Very good. Very good. Proper place.
Thanks, Mike.
Now, have you...
Shagged out, son.
Have you got anybody...
Just feel as I've done 3 rounds with a revolving door.
Have you got anybody with you on this trip? Are you accompanied?
Oh, I've just got my research assistant.
Research assistant?
Little girl Friday. Lovely. How are you, darling? Yes, sir.
Where did you find her?
Well, she's an Australian lass. She's from the outback. I've had her for the last day and a half, as a matter of fact. She jetted over here to join me. I've got a bit of a turnover in secretaries, I have to be quite frank with you, Michael. It's the pressure, you see, tremendous pressure these women are under. But her name is Clivine Jamesagong, as a matter of fact. It's an old Australian name.
Now, tell me, finally, Celeste, and thank you for your efforts tonight, spreading a bit of culture in our direction. Celeste. What? Will you in fact stay, do you think, while, or for Dame Edna, who's about to make an appearance?
Well, I will, but I wouldn't mind just nipping the amenity.
The dunny.
The dunny.
The dunny.
Is that a British expression as well for
It
the
is.
old, you know?
Yeah, that's it.
Huh? No worries. Isn't it incredible, the cultural links between our countries? I wouldn't mind nipping into powder my nose, Parky. I'll be back later.
All right.
Good luck.
Well,
It's been a big pleasure.
Thank
A
you.
big pleasure. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Celeste back.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good on you, Mike.
Right. Well, my final guest tonight is one of the great names of entertainment. 20 years ago, she was a